Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Glad you're here. Today's video is going to be about a mental illness that I think exists, but we don't have an official name for it yet, or it's not an official diagnosis yet. So this is all conjecture, my personal opinion from life experience and my job in the field. But I think there is a personality disorder known as abusive personality disorder. This is somebody who has a preoccupation with controlling other people. You know, you've seen on TV or movies that abusive boyfriend who is just mean, angry, and wants to control their girlfriend, or if it's a marriage, kids, and I've seen it personally in both genders, women controlling men. I've seen it in the workplace. You have controlling bosses who try to micromanage every single person. But I think the reason I want to have this as a standalone diagnosis is that we don't have one that accurately describes this. Of course, we have narcissistic personality disorder, where somebody thinks that they're essentially better than everyone else and can do no wrong, but that doesn't mean they're abusive. And the same goes for borderline personality disorder, somebody who struggles with relationships, someone who has an unstable sense of self and emotional highs and lows. But still, it does not mean that that person engages in abusive behavior. Even antisocial personality disorder, it's not an essential part of the criteria, nor does everyone who has antisocial personality disorder exhibit abusive behavior. So I think we need to get a little more specific on our diagnosing. So shout out to the APA if you're listening. I'd love to for you guys to consider this. So what I believe is that if someone has abusive personality disorder, they engage in abusive behaviors every week, at least once, if not more. These will be from the most common, which is emotional abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse, and then sexual abuse, the least common of the forms of abuse. I think it's important to note there's a lot of lack of understanding around verbal and emotional abuse. So verbal is where somebody's yelling and screaming, scaring someone through the tone and volume of their voice. And then emotional abuse is putting someone down, attacking their character, trying to harm their self-esteem, calling them names, those types of things. And then with physical abuse, it's important to note that when people destroy property or, like punch holes in the walls, that's considered physical abuse. Even though it isn't to the victim themselves, it's still designed to scare that person and intimidate and control that person. So I think that's important to distinguish. Financial abuse, where someone tries to control your money or all the money. Giving allowances is common with this. And then with the sexual abuse, it can be forced sexual behavior or withholding sex for extended periods of time for no other reason than controlling that other person. I think something I see a lot in people with abusive personality disorder is that they feel like rules don't apply to them, like respecting others. That's something they don't have to do, but others have to respect them. Or else they get in a really bad mood and the abusive episodes will come out. And they can be triggered by anything, really. Just a bad day or a perceived slight can set this person off into a abusive tangent where they're yelling at folks, calling people names, etc., etc. It can also be done covertly, behind somebody's back. This can be done through gossiping, where the abuser knows that the other person's going to hear about it, trying to intimidate them through other people. Some more passive aggressive ways of being abusive, and passive aggressive behavior as well. So it could be messing with that person's property. It could be, leaving nasty notes for that person, that kind of thing. So sometimes people who are abusive are empathetic and apologetic, but sometimes not. It's usually not sincere. So what we have is there's a cycle of abuse. There's the, abuse happens, then the apology, and then the honeymoon phase, where everything's good and great again. But then the abuse occurs and the cycle repeats itself. So may not necessarily be sorry. I think if people are genuinely sorry, what they'll do is go and seek help. And that's when you know that somebody who has abusive personality disorder is genuine about getting better, and whether or not you should continue to be in a relationship with that somebody. If they're not apologetic and they just continue the cycle, that's when it's time to take action and probably exit the relationship. Usually, there's little insight into the illness, and either that's pride or it's just a lack of insight into one's own behavior. Somebody probably grew up with an abusive household and just kind of became that through their core beliefs, where we're all shaped as children, our subconscious. And we develop core beliefs about the world and ourselves. So if you grow up in a household where your father or your mother is abusing everyone, you may think that's normal. And so you seek out those relationships where you can abuse others or be abused even. That happens, and we'll talk about that mental illness in a subsequent video. One of the other criteria for this personality disorder is severe distress when the victim of the abuse tries to flee. You'll see these people get really upset, up the ante, so to speak, with their controlling behaviors. They may threaten violence on the victim or themselves, children, property, lawsuits, etc. Just vindictive behaviors designed to get control back of that person. So what should you do? Whether you have abusive personality disorder or you are in a relationship with someone or know someone, it's very important that that person gets help immediately, the person with the illness. And if they're unwilling to, you want to distance yourself from that person. Setting really good boundaries. So say if you can't get away, like it's a relationship at work, it's your supervisor, you've got to be firm and not allow this person to take advantage of you to the best of your ability. It's not worth sacrificing your mental health and your self-esteem. Stand up for yourself and protect yourself. If you struggle with that, please see a counselor. We can help you build your assertiveness, your self-esteem, so that you can withstand those attacks. It's always helpful to kind of have a what do you call it? Not a metaphor, but like a understandable term for mental illnesses. So like bipolar, we have like a maniac, somebody who's just full of energy, jumping around the place, feeling higher than life. You've got OCPD, which is obsessive compulsive personality disorder, but essentially it's a perfectionist and someone whose perfectionism is interfering with their quality of life and their ability to function. For this one, it's a bully. So it's somebody who bullies, threatens, intimidates others to control others. There's a lot of theories why people bully or this personality disorder exists. Low self-esteem, self-worth, I'm not sure. I think it comes from living in a home where this was acceptable and tolerated, and it just becomes like an ingrained behavior, but persists for very long periods of time. Am I certain it's a personality disorder? No. It could also just be a mental illness that's treatable, goes into remission. That's the exciting thing about mental health is we don't know. It's all it's a frontier, like the Wild West. We're trying to figure it out as we go. So again, it's not an official diagnosis. This is just from my personal opinion, from my experience in the field and in life. I've seen this happen over and over again with people with this disorder. And I will be, creating some more videos in the future. My next one's going to be about the victim of abuse disorder, which is what this disorder causes in others. So kind of like a Stockholm syndrome is our term for that. But I think we need an official diagnosis. So I want to thank you guys for dropping in today. Hope this was helpful, and see you next time. Have a blessed day.